Again, I'm standing here to boost a weak, failed case of the state that I've endangered people's life. Where in the video and the evidence of the state do you see any form of evidence that the life of people were endangered? Is it because they are black people? They are bastardized? They are so animal so much that when you shoot, they will not run away.
Hello good people, welcome back to my channel. If you're watching me from TikTok, please follow me in YouTube at Fred from Motherland. If you're watching me in YouTube, please follow us in TikTok at Fred from the Motherland. Now, we have sad news knocking at our doors right now where the CIC president, the EFF leader, Mr. Julius Malema, has been found guilty over the hate speech remarks he made in Western Cape. This is the main video that has made Malema to be found guilty, and this happened in 2022. So they ruled that Malema is guilty of hate speech. But as a Pan-Africanist, we were all expecting this. Do you all remember what happened in the United States when Ramaphosa visited US and he was asked what he's doing about Malema? Because Malema is threatening people and he has not been arrested by the government. Ramaphosa replied that South Africa is a multi-party state. It's not a one-party state. And they all have different political ideologies. So the government cannot come and arrest someone because he has a different idea with that of the government. So they cannot arrest someone over that because people have freedom of speech. So I understand that Malema has proceeded to the next court to deny the ruling that he is guilty over hate speech. Amin Dada used to say that, yes, there is freedom of speech, but he cannot guarantee freedom after the speech. So this is a clear indication that we have a freedom of speech in Africa, but there is no guarantee of freedom after your speech. I want us to watch this video first before I proceed.
But why wouldn't you arrest that man? I'm not sure, but I think if somebody got up in Parliament and started saying kill a certain group of people, he would be arrested very quickly. It is going all over South Africa, and that's not a small party. That was a stadium that holds 100,000 people, and I hardly saw an empty seat. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of representation.
Built on the plunder of Africa's wealth, one man has dared to light a fuse that could burn the imperialist system to the ground. Julius Malema, the unapologetic leader of South Africa's economic freedom fighters, EFF.
You went to a school here to protest the other time, and you were beaten by white people. And there is a white man who's visible on camera. If I were to ask you, what have you done in terms of follow-up after being beaten by that white guy? Why have you not, as a revolutionary organization, followed up on that guy, him alone, to check that guy in an isolated space and attend to the guy properly? What type of revolutionaries get beaten and they don't have a follow-up? And then they pride themselves of being beaten, and they repeat videos of themselves being beaten, and we must vote for them because they were beaten by a white man that they've never followed up on the same white man that has beaten them up. Tell that white man to try me. I'll come many times here in Western Cape appearing a court case because no white man is going to beat me up and call myself a revolutionary the following day. You must never be scared to kill. A revolution demands that at some point there must be killing because the killing is part of a revolutionary act. Why did Mandela take up a gun? He was the first soldier of Mkhonto Wesizwe. Why did he take up a gun? Was he taking a gun to distribute roses? He took up a gun because The revolution had reached a point where there is no longer an alternative but to kill.
So my question is, are they trying to silence the voices of the oppressed and the landless people in Africa? Because Julius Malema is not just himself. He is carrying a very big luggage of the oppressed Africans, not only in South Africa, but in the entire Africa. Malema represents the bigger latitude of people who are oppressed in the entire Africa. So, are they trying to silence the voice of the oppressed in Africa? Because we all understand what is going on in South Africa. And the only voice that can stop that is Mr. Julius Malema, because Malema has numbers. He has people rallying behind him. So he's the only person that can stop that from happening. Remember, he made this allegation, this video, when he said that those who are trying to make Cape Town a country of itself cannot do that because EFF won't allow that. So is this a tactic of stopping him from mobilize people to go against the Cape independence? Now, I want us to watch some clips here where people have reacted to this verdict. Then I come back to tell you what happens to someone found guilty of hate speech. Malema is not going to be the first person, because we all remember Solomon Kalushi, who was hanged after court found him guilty in the year 1979. What will happen to Julius Malema after the court has found him guilty over hate speech? Remember, he's a political figure in South Africa. He's a big guy in South Africa, and he has numbers behind him. Not only in South Africa, but also in Africa. In Ghana, in Nigeria, in Burkina Faso, in Kenya, people are rallying behind him. So are they going to do the same to Malema, what they did to Solomon Kalushi? So let's watch these videos, guys, then I come back.
Nothing must happen to Julius Malema. I repeat, South Africans, nothing must happen to Julius Malema. The news just coming in now is that Julius Malema has been pronounced guilty of hate speech by a South African court. I created a content earlier this year on the visit that President Ramaphosa had in the US White House with Donald Trump, where Donald Trump was saying publicly that Julius Malema was inciting hate speech and anti-whiteness and anti-white policies against South African farmers and the white community as a whole, that he ought to have been arrested by the South African government, where he provided fake evidences of unalivings that were done by black farmers on white farmers in South Africa. The South African government denied it there, although, but now Julius Malema has been pronounced guilty and it's looking like he is about to be silenced. Donald Trump has a hand in it. The South African government also have a hand in it. None of them can be overlooked. You can see what is going on in South Africa right now. The whites are trying to take over South Africa fully, and Julius Malema, if left alone, will be a hindrance to that movement. He will continue to remind South Africans, the indigenous ones, their rights and the evil that is being done to them and the need for them not to tolerate it if they want to be free and enjoy their resources that they have been blessed with. All the things they are accusing Julius Malema of are lies. No concrete evidence to back any of them up. Julius Malema said he will only unalive anybody that tries to unalive him, which is what I will do, which is what any normal thinking person will do. And now they are pronouncing him guilty for just hate speech. The thing that the white people in South Africa did during apartheid, have Africans done it to them before? But when an African is already making a move that has not even become as dangerous as the one they made during colonization and apartheid, they will just come from nowhere to stop him at that point because they don't even want him to go further. But we will not take it from them, and we will not take it from them. We remember what you people did in Africa as a whole. You people are not angels, you are not saints, you are not in any moral right to pronounce Julius Malema or any other Pan-Africanist in Africa as guilty for something as simple as a hate speech. You people did more than hate speech during colonization and apartheid. So you deserve to suffer. And if you try to unalive any African leader, you deserve to be unalived. That is how it is. Don't give out what you can't take. If you put out violence, you must get violence back. We don't forgive around here. You must pay for your wickedness. And as far as I'm concerned, Julius Malema did not do anything wrong, and you people cannot take him to jail until all of you colonialists and imperialists face justice for your crimes. And Julius Malema have also been denied visa to the US on multiple occasions, simply because of what he represents as a Pan-Africanist in Africa. You see, he's valid with his stance because there's nothing to like about the white people because of their personality and what they did during colonization and apartheid. And that is the more reason why Africans need to work as one, unite and develop Africa as a continent so that we will not have the need to travel to foreign countries in the first place and give them the opportunity to dictate our lives and give them the opportunity to discriminate us and treat us less than animals. It's because they know that we don't have another option. And that is very wrong. That is dependency. When you show your enemy that you are weak, they will take full advantage of you. We must work together as one continent to grow so that we will not have the need to travel. This disrespect is too much. It's enough.
Breaking news. Julius Malema has been found guilty of hate speech by the Western Cape Court. So that's just released. You can go and check on da.org. Not necessarily that I vote for the DA, but it's a source nonetheless. Obviously in the media, because this is pro-DA news and pro-ANC news and pro-South African news, to be honest. So you can go and see it on the DA. I don't necessarily vote DA or pro-DA. I'm just saying this is a fantastic result for the DA. And I saw recent polls. Apparently, they are going to surge past the ANC in the next election, which is obviously as a result of a lot of pressure, I think, in mainstream media. There's a lot of things going on. People are getting murdered by the day in Lavender Hill in the Cape Flats. It is literally a war. I mean, it's a war. It might as well be Gaza. It might as well be Ukraine in terms of the gang war that's going on in the Western Cape. Where I live, I know there were people shot. There's a taxi war going on between Kudeta and Carter. So the streets have been closed. One of the taxi ranks have been closed. High-level taxi bosses have been shot, and innocent pedestrians or bystanders have been shot. We've got the whole NTN saga going on. Not too sure what's happening there, but something is fishy. If you could check my prior video. It might be by design, but one thing is evident. Corruption is literally the best job in South Africa. So we should, instead of getting the universities to change their language, we should just add another course. Corruption 101 or professional corruptionism. Become a politician and you will get the highest paying job in South Africa. Isn't that ridiculous? Go and look at all the ANC politicians. They are some of the highest paid individuals in South Africa. And I'm wondering why. It's a public service that you're supposed to render. You're not supposed to get paid that much. But obviously you get paid on the bankroll and then you get paid behind the bankroll. So this is good news. Julius, you've been given a fine. You probably will only need to apologize like News 24 apologizes every time they have a blunder. But they've got the right to upend and ruin people's lives, because the perception once something happens is very difficult to eradicate with a simple apology. So I'm wondering what the next steps are. This might be also as a result of the influence and what transpired in the Oval Office when Cyril Ramaphosa helped Bubbles. Couldn't even admit that he knows about all of the crosses that were erected for farm murders. And if we're honest, if we had to erect crosses for all the victims of murder in South Africa, the Cape Flats wouldn't be the only war zone. We are actually at war already in the sense that the crime is ridiculous in South Africa. Violent crime. I mean, I went as a neighborhood watch member yesterday. I responded to a call. I was on my way to the shop and I drove to the beach. There was a call. 7 minors between the age of 9 and 15
were robbing people at one of the most pristine beaches in the Western Cape. In the middle of the day, it was like 4 o'clock. Robbing people, running away, nothing can be done. So we've got children robbing people at the beaches, in public, in broad daylight. We're getting people murdered like someone's cutting grass in the Cape Flats as a result of gang war. And we've got corrupt politicians that have mastered the art of stealing money. What an interesting country. What an interesting time that does not bode well for our future and our children. Doesn't matter what the color of your face is. This is not good. And we are not doing well. We've got to think, and we've got to change something. We've got to do something if we all want to survive here, because the trajectory we're on.
Enough. When the cause tries to reduce and dignity and equality.
Remember this video?
Revolution demands that at some point there must be killing. The revolution had reached a point where there is no longer an alternative but to kill.
Well, the Equality Court has found Julius Malema guilty of hate speech at that rally in 2022. There were 2 complaints made to the court, one by the South African Human Rights Commission and another by someone who alleges that they were threatened due to the remarks he made at his rally. The court says, and I quote, "Calling out someone who behaves as a racist may be acceptable, but calling for them to be killed is not," and stated that his remarks were an act of vigilantism and an incitement of the most extreme form of harm possible. You might also remember this meeting between Donald Trump and President Ramaphosa.
Our government policy is completely against what he was saying.
And the fact that in June, Malema was denied entry into the UK due to their view that he was not conducive to public good. Obviously, Julius Malema and South African leaders in general are receiving a lot of international attention. So it'll be interesting to see how this ruling affects international views of South Africa and our governance.
You won't believe this. Julius Malema, he has been found guilty of hate speech. Can you believe this? Now we're waiting for the court to decide his sentence. The leader of the EFF, the man who has said that he has been fighting for the South African people, he has now been branded as a hate monger, all because of what he said in the 2022 rallies. Here's the thing, the people, they do not care. They're celebrating him. They're saying that the court is afraid of the truth. They're saying that Julius Malema only speaks the truth and he cannot hide his truth. In fact, some of his supporters, they're saying that Julius Malema is being silenced for speaking the truth. Imagine that. They're saying in South Africa, if you speak the truth, you will definitely be judged. You will be jailed because of speaking the truth. That's just crazy. The stuff that Julius Malema says, they've caused a lot of trouble, not just for him, even for the president of South Africa. Remember when the president of South Africa, he went to America, to the White House, and Donald Trump, he confronted him. He started saying things that Julius Malema said. He even played a video of Julius Malema. Imagine that. And now it seems like that influence has led him to a big trouble. But here's my big question. Is Julius Malema telling the truth, or is he spreading hate speech?
Malema is guilty of hate speech. I just received the wonderful news from our legal team that they were successful in the case against Malema and the EFF in the High Court of Cape Town. This victory ushers in a new era where we can finally establish ourselves as a true alternative for the Afrikaner people. Despite the challenges, we must fight them everywhere. We cannot give them an inch. Our next battle in this war is the Expropriation Without Compensation Act, where they want to take the private property of our people and break the will of our nation. We will not let it happen. We have assembled an A team of lawyers and advocates, the same legal representatives that was on this case, like Millie Wesley and Advocate Roelof du Plessis, that was successful in the 2011 case against Malema and the ANC, where he won the case with cost, but at last AfriForum settled the case and put aside the High Court ruling. I want to pledge to you today that we as a true alternative for the Afrikaner people will never settle. We will never fall back, and we will never compromise the future of our people for our own gain. Walk with us, give us your support, and finally we may prove ourselves as a true alternative and a new hope for our people.
Now, I want to take you through the legal basis. What happens to someone found guilty of hate speech in South Africa? Now, hate speech cases in South Africa are usually dealt with under the Constitution Section 16, which limits freedom of expression where speech amounts to incitement of harm, advocacy of hatred based on race, ethnicity, gender, or religion. The Promotion of Equality and Prevention of Unfair Discrimination Act, PEPUDA, Equality Act of 2000, the main law used in hate speech cases. In extreme cases, hate speech may also be prosecuted under the criminal law if its amount to incitement to violence, criminal injury, or public violence. Court process. If brought under PEPUDA, cases are usually heard in equality courts, which can sit within High Court. If the Cape Town High Court makes the findings, it has the wide direction to impose remedies. Possible consequences. If guilty, the court can order an apology, a public or private apology to the affected person / community, compensation or damages. The offender may be ordered to pay damages to the victims, interdict or ban, preventing the person from making similar statements again. Community service. In some cases, courts have ordered offenders to work with organizations promoting tolerance. Publication of apology in newspapers, social media, or other platforms. Paying legal costs of the other side. In serious cases where the hate speech overlaps with criminal offenses, criminal charges could lead to a fine or imprisonment, though prison is rare and usually reserved for incitement to violence or repeated extreme cases. For example, in the John Glenn case, 2019 to 2020, the journalist was found guilty of hate speech over a homophobic article. The court ordered damages and public apology. In the Penny Sparrow case of 2016, she was fined 150,000 rand for racist hate speech on Facebook. So, guys, what do you think about the Malema's case? What's going to be the outcome? Is he going to be imprisoned, or is he going to be asked to pay for the damages or to ask for the apology? Please comment down there in the comment section. And of course, if you're watching us for the first time, please feel free to subscribe, like, and share this video to as many more people as possible. Let's pray for Malema and let's stand with him.
Julius Malema, the CIC, the leader of the EFF, has been found guilty by the Equality Court in the Western Cape for what they call he's guilty of the hate speech and inciting violence. This is after the 2022, the speech that he made in the rally in 2022. After that march in Brackenfell, where Malema chastised, condemned the EFF members for not acting against the white men who were part of the group that attacked them outside the Brackenfell. This is what it is. It's not too complex. Malema spoke to the EFF members to say, you should have never allowed a white man to beat you up. And he even said himself that I will come down there, no white man can beat me up. And said a lot of other things, but he was saying them from a point of being a leader of a group of people, which majority of them were black people and were fighting for a just cause. He never said they should go out there and kill anyone. He said they should have never allowed to be beaten by a white man. And that comes from a history that we have as black people in this country. But the Equality Court in the Western Cape found him guilty of that. And this case was brought in that court by the Human Rights Commission. If you listen to the guy, or the professor who brought this case about from the Human Rights Commission, he says that speech had a potential to somehow pushes a normal, average black man to commit violence against white people. So the problem with that speech for me, it suggests that we as black people somehow will just take things literally. We will go, and it didn't happen between 2022 and now. No white person has been beaten anyhow because of what Malema has said. If you look at this whole case, it's not different from the case about the kill the Buaso, where the first time he was found guilty. When they appealed, which they are going to even appeal this particular one, when they went back, they won the case because they just said, but In no way, that is a political statement. In no way a normal person can take that and go use it as a weapon, or use that too as a hate, to go hate white people. It comes from just what we call a preach or a song. In this case, though it's not a song, but Malema was saying, why would you allow? And they were beaten up. And no one has reported. The same Human Rights Commission didn't report a case against those white people. I also saw in one of the videos, the so-called victim says he felt scared because of what Malema said, because these people were going to come beat him. Did they beat him between 2022 and now? No. This whole case, I do believe in no way I want violence. I don't even condone or support violence, but this Malema and EFF must appeal this case, because it's wrong. No one between 2022 and now has ever been beaten because of what Malema said. So why is he found guilty of? Actually, he was protecting the so-called marginalized, the so-called defenseless people, saying why would they allow to be beaten by the people that used to beat them during apartheid?